Welcome to today's deep dive. Today we are taking you right into the heart of a match that, honestly, it completely shatters how we usually understand momentum in sports.
Oh, totally. It is a narrative that really defies all the traditional logic of sports momentum.
Right. We are looking at this spectacular clash between South Africa and India. And the match report we are grounding this in, it honestly reads like a psychological thriller.
It really does. We often view a team's early dominance as this permanent trajectory,
Yeah.
but this match proves just how fragile that kinetic energy actually is. We see a team dominating, and we trick ourselves into believing that the hill they are rolling down will just never flatten out.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this because to understand the stakes here,
Yeah.
you have to realize both teams came into this match needing a win to keep their group alive.
Right, both are sitting at 4 points.
Yeah. Do or die.
Yeah.
So India wins the toss. They decide to put runs on the board on this brand new Old Trafford pitch. And out of the gate, they look absolutely invincible.
India clearly calculated that extreme aggression was going to be their currency for the day.
For sure.
Setting a target on a fresh Old Trafford pitch, it usually requires a period of consolidation, assessing the true bounce and the carry.
Yeah, feeling it out.
Right. But India just discarded that completely.
They really did. You've got Shafali Verma coming out,
Right.
and instead of taking a sider, she just clips the ball through short, fine leg to immediately start the boundary count.
Just zero hesitation.
None at all.
Yeah.
Then Jabdim Ismail brings some serious pace,
Yeah.
right? And rather than getting pushed onto the back foot, Shafali just steps right into it.
Oh, yeah.
She uses Ismail's own speed to deflect the ball away.
And that is elite counterpunching. When a bowler like Ismail hits the deck hard, the natural human instinct is self-preservation.
Exactly. You want to get out of the way.
Right. But Shafali recognized the pitch had true bounce, meaning she could trust the line of the ball. She turned the bowler's greatest asset, which is velocity, into a liability by simply providing the angles.
That is such a good point. And it wasn't just Shafali doing this.
No.
Smriti Mandhana gets in on the action. She smashes Ismail through the covers, then hits this beautiful swivel pull, taking 14 runs off Ismail's first over.
Wow.
Mandhana even tries to walk down the track to ramp Marizanne Kapp over mid-on. It didn't quite connect, but the intent was just definite.
A message was sent.
Loud and clear. Then Chloe Tryon comes in for the fourth over with her left arm spin, and Shafali just uses her feet to completely disrupt Tryon's length. She scores 14 runs off the first 3 balls.
That is incredible.
So India is sitting at 47 for 1 after just 4 overs. To me, this feels exactly like a marathon runner sprinting the first mile.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right? It looks spectacular, it terrifies the competition, but it entirely masks the fact that your lungs are going to burn out by mile 3.
What's fascinating here is the psychology behind that specific start. By coming out so aggressively and finding that much early boundary success, India actually engineered a psychological trap for their own dressing room.
Wait, really? Because I look at 47 for 1 and 4 overs and I see a dream scenario. Are you suggesting it created a false baseline for the rest of the innings?
Yes, exactly. That is the danger of early overperformance. When you hit through the line that easily early on, your brain calibrates to a reality that might just be temporary. The batters assume the conditions will allow for a 12-over run rate indefinitely.
Well, they think the pitch is a road.
Precisely. They stop playing the actual situation and start playing an idealized version of the pitch. They start believing they can muscle their way through the softer, older ball later in the innings.
Oh, wow.
And the data from our source bears this out perfectly. Shafali Verma's 31 ended up being the highest score for the entire Indian team.
That is insane.
That blistering opening sequence was a complete illusion of sustained dominance.
So they basically over-revved the engine early, thinking the road was straight, completely blind to the hairpin turns coming up, which makes South Africa's response so impressive. We go from India's fireworks display to South Africa applying this systematic suffocating squeeze.
It was a masterclass in pressure.
It really was. It wasn't a sudden chaotic collapse where India just imploded out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was a deliberate, tactical chokehold by the South African field and bowlers.
Right. South Africa shifted their operational mode. They moved from reacting to India's aggression to proactively forcing the conditions of the game.
Let's look at the actual mechanics of how those dominoes fell, because South Africa does get a slightly bizarre break to initiate the turnaround.
They do, yeah.
Ismail bowls a relatively standard delivery, not a vicious bouncer or anything, and Shafali, who had been attacking every millimeter of the crease, sort of stumbles trying to dodge it.
Yeah, she lost her footing.
Replays show she gloved the ball through to Sunila Jafta while literally trying to regain her balance. It's an ugly dismissal, but it opens the door.
And a wicket completely resets the tactical board. Well, it stops the hemorrhaging of runs, first of all. And it forces a new batter to suddenly acclimatize to a pitch that the South African bowlers are beginning to understand much better than the batters do.
And the squeeze really tightens from there. Yasti Kabadia, who, by the way, was selected ahead of Party Fulmali for this specific matchup, gets tracked pound plove by Ayabonga Kaka's second delivery.
Ouch.
Then Jemima Rodriguez gets caught off a leading edge by Nadine de Klerk. Suddenly, this runaway train of an Indian batting lineup is reduced to 82 for 4.
And that scoreboard pressure fundamentally alters shot selection.
Right.
You've lost your top order, the run rate is stagnating, and suddenly that fresh Old Trafford pitch feels incredibly sluggish because the bowlers are taking the pace off the ball.
India does try to counterpunch, though. Harmanpreet Kaur comes in. She hits Tryon for a boundary and battles through a tough over against Malaba.
She showed some real fight.
She did. She even chops a wobble seam delivery from Ismail for 24 before she needed medical attention. But despite that resistance, South Africa's lines just become immaculate.
They really zeroed in.
They forced Deepti Sharma into this incredibly awkward, tumbling sweep shot straight to short fine leg.
Yeah.
Then Richa Ghosh is caught off Marizanne Kapp's slower ball, again at short fine leg.
Yeah.
India only manages 36 runs off the bat in the final 4 overs. Kapp finishes as the most economical bowler with 2 for 27. Now, the source material notes India might view their own batting effort as the primary reason they lost.
I know, and I
really want to push back on that narrative because did South Africa win this half of the game or did India lose it?
Looking at how Deepti and Ghosh went out, it feels less like India giving their wickets away and much more like South Africa surgically removing them.
Your reading of those dismissals hits on the exact core tactical shift of the innings. South Africa constructed a very specific geometric trap.
A geometric trap.
Yes. The source mentions a packed leg side pitch. Bowlers like Kapp and Malaba abandoned bowling standard lines outside off stump.
Okay.
They started bowling straight, stump to stump, or slightly drifting down the leg side, while the captain moved almost all the boundary protection to that side of the field. So they essentially starved the batters of any width on the offside, daring them to hit through the heavily guarded leg side.
Exactly. That is the true anatomy of the squeeze. When you starve a T20 batter of offside width, the frustration builds exponentially.
I can imagine.
You force a batter like Deepti Sharma to fetch a ball and play an uncomfortable low-percentage tumbling sweep because her brain tells her it's the only conceivable gap left.
Wow.
South Africa's discipline created an environment where India's errors were not unforced. They were entirely orchestrated.
The trap snaps shut. So South Africa manages to restrict them and sets a target of 159. On this pitch, that's a tough ask, but mathematically manageable.
Very manageable.
But that manageable chase becomes an absolute mountain. Because South Africa comes out and spectacularly botches their own start, the momentum pendulum just violently swings right back to India.
The transition from fielding to batting in a run chase, it carries a very unique psychological weight. The clarity of knowing exactly what you need to score can often paralyze a batting order, especially if the opening overs don't go to plan.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. South Africa's captain, Laura Wolvert, walks out to bat and looks completely stranded.
She just couldn't find her rhythm.
She cannot find any timing or fluency whatsoever. She crawls to 20 runs off 19 balls. In a modern T20 chase, chewing up nearly 3.5 overs for 20 runs is basically moving your team backward.
It's disastrous for the required run rate.
Eventually, the pressure boils over. She tries to force a shot against the left-arm spinner, Sri Trani, and hits it straight back for a sharp return catch.
And losing your captain and opening anchor in that fashion sends a very specific shockwave through the dressing room.
It has to, right?
Yeah, it signals that the pitch is difficult and that the required run rate is already becoming a serious issue.
And it cascades immediately. Annery Dirksen walks in, decides to instantly manufacture a big shot, plays completely across the line, and gets her stumps rearranged. Tarani ends up finishing the power play with a wicket maiden. South Africa sitting at 25 for 2. To me, this scenario is like waking up an hour late for your final exam, throwing your clothes on in a panic, sprinting to your car.
And realizing the battery is dead.
Yes. Pure, unadulterated panic. They are totally failing to get India away, and the math is turning against them rapidly.
Your analogy captures the compounding nature of the stress perfectly. A wicket maiden in a T20 power play is statistically devastating.
I bet.
During those first 6 overs, the fielding restrictions are designed to give batters an inherent advantage. To lose a wicket and score absolutely 0 runs in an over during that specific window creates immense scoreboard pressure.
Because now you have fewer overs and a higher target.
Right. The required run rate jumps significantly, which dictates that the incoming batters must take higher risks way earlier than they want to.
So they aren't just chasing a 159 anymore. They are chasing a ballooning run rate while fighting off total psychological collapse.
Exactly. And setting that stage is crucial for you, the listener, to understand the magnitude of what follows. The South African dugout was looking at an impending disaster.
So that absolute paralysis at 25 for 2 makes what Marizanne Kapp does next so counterintuitive. We need to dissect this 97-run partnership for the 3rd wicket between Kapp and the returning Tazmin Brits.
It's a phenomenal partnership.
It starts slowly, though. At 9 overs, South Africa is still only at 45 for 2. They are so far off the pace you can practically hear the clock ticking.
Oh, the pressure was immense.
Then, the 10th over against Premarawa happens. Most batters in a rut would turtle up to survive, but Kapp decides to flip the switch.
She went on the offensive.
She scores 10 runs off the first 2 balls, and crucially, she introduces this highly risky ramp shot. She uses the pace of the ball to flick it over the wicketkeeper, and she relies on that shot for the rest of the game.
Brilliant execution.
Brits bides her time slightly, then takes on Deepti Sharma, launching her over long on for a massive 6. Brits also makes a hyper-clutch DRS review to overturn and pound Brew dismissal when she was on 28.
That review was huge.
Suddenly, they cross the 50-run stand in the 12th over, and the geometry of the chase completely changes.
That 10th over is a masterclass in tactical escalation.
A masterclass.
Yes. Kapp realized that traditional cricket shots weren't penetrating the infield. By introducing the ramp, she completely destroyed the bowler's length.
How so?
If the bowler pitches it up, she drives. If the bowler drops it short, she ramps it over the keeper. It makes the bowler second-guess their own strategy.
Okay, I'm going to pause you on the word masterclass because I want to look closely at a detail from our source.
Okay, lay it on me.
During this incredible fight back, Marizanne Kapp offered India 2 difficult chances when she was on 9 and 25. Later, she gave them an absolute sitter, a routine catch when she was on 65.
She did, yeah.
So my question is, if you are dropped 3 times by the opposition, are we really witnessing a masterclass, or are we just watching a player survive their own fatal mistakes because the other team dropped the ball?
That is a great pushback. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it requires us to redefine mastery in elite competition.
Go on.
We have a tendency to equate a masterclass with flawless execution, a pristine sequence of events with 0 errors. But in a high-stakes, volatile environment like a T20 run chase, perfection is a statistical anomaly.
So you're saying the mastery is found in the recovery, not the avoidance of error.
Yes. The true masterclass is the psychological resilience demonstrated the moment after the mistake.
Right.
Consider the mental toll of slicing a ball straight to a fielder. The natural human instinct, once you see that ball dropped, is intense relief followed by severe risk aversion.
Oh, absolutely. You think, I just got a second life. I cannot afford to get out now. I need to play conservatively.
Right. You get gun-shy. You put away the ramp shot. You stop playing the exact aggressive strokes that the required run rate demands you play.
But Kapp didn't do that.
No. Kapp and Brits refused to retreat into that shell. The source explicitly highlights this. They did not let the opportunities they presented to India slow down their aggressive pursuit of the target.
That's incredible discipline.
Kapp went right back to her ramp shot. Brits continued to target the boundary. The masterclass isn't in a flawless swing of the bat. The masterclass is the mental fortitude to immediately discard the near-death experience, reset the nervous system, and hit the very next ball with absolute, unwavering conviction.
They accepted the imperfection of the innings and weaponized their second chances instead of being paralyzed by them.
Exactly.
So they rebuild the foundation, they get the math somewhat under control. But rebuilding an innings is entirely different from crossing the finish line. You have to actively take the game out of the opponent's hands.
You do.
And that brings us to the tactical genius of how South Africa actually secured this win.
Moving from stabilization to the execution of a finishing blow requires identifying the opponent's structural weaknesses.
So the climax hits in the 15th over. Arundhati Reddy has the ball, and Kapp and Brits completely dismantle her for 16 runs.
Just bore into her.
Brits hits her straight back over her head for 4. Kapp follows up with consecutive boundaries and another scoop shot. Kapp ends up carrying her bat, finishing undefeated on a magnificent 81 off 45 balls.
What a knock.
But buried in the scorecard is a strategic detail that I think defines the entire match. Kapp and Brits scored 44 runs off of Deepti Sharma's 4 overs.
Yeah, that is the crucial stat.
To me, attacking Deepti Sharma feels almost reckless. Normally, when you're facing a team's ace bowler in a run chase, the standard playbook dictates you just survive their 4 overs and feast on the weaker bowlers.
Right, that's the traditional wisdom.
But going after her, they threw that playbook out the window. It feels like choosing to engage the enemy sniper first instead of the infantry.
That specific matchup is the linchpin of the victory. Deepti Sharma is India's primary weapon, right?
Yeah.
She's the bowler designed to dry up runs, build pressure, and take the crucial wickets that break partnerships. Exactly. And the conservative approach you just described is exactly what the Indian captain relies on.
Because if you just tap the ace bowler around for 4 runs and over, the captain can control the entire pace of the game.
Spot on. By actively hunting Deepti Sharma, Kapp and Brits didn't just accumulate runs. They neutralized India's greatest tactical asset. They shattered the defensive strategy.
Which changes everything.
Think about the ripple effect on the field. When your premier bowler, the one you trust to bowl the difficult overs, is bleeding 11 runs and over, the captain is forced to panic.
Field placements become reactive rather than proactive.
Right. And the other, less experienced bowlers see the ace getting dismantled and their own confidence just evaporates.
So by taking out the sniper, as we put it, South Africa won the physical battle of the run rate while simultaneously breaking India's psychological hold on the match.
They didn't just survive the hardest part of the pitch, they actively dismantled it to make the rest of the game easier.
So what does this all mean when we zoom out? We move from the final ball of this incredible chase to the broader tournament landscape.
The implications for the group stage are massive and immediate.
Both teams arrived at Old Trafford, needing a win, theoretically sitting at 4 points. But their trajectories have now drastically diverged.
Very different paths ahead now.
South Africa gets to ride this immense wave of momentum and confidence into their remaining matches against Bangladesh and the Netherlands. India, conversely, faces a brutally steep climb.
It's going to be tough for them.
They still have to play Bangladesh, and then they have to find a way to defeat the tournament heavyweights, Australia, just to keep their hopes alive.
It is a harsh reality check. India built a terrifying illusion of dominance in those first 4 overs of the match, but illusions cannot sustain a campaign.
It forces us to synthesize the entire journey of this one game. How a decision at the toss to bat first, a few agonizingly dropped catches in the outfield, and one player's sheer mental refusal to back down after making a mistake, it completely reshaped the fate of 2 nations in this tournament.
It really is the ultimate butterfly effect, mapped out over 40 overs of cricket.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to turn the focus back to you listening, because there is a profound takeaway embedded in this match that applies far beyond the boundaries of a cricket pitch.
There really is.
What do you do when you find yourself sitting at 25 for 2 in your own life? Maybe a project at work is collapsing, a launch has failed, or a personal goal seems mathematically impossible to reach given your current starting point.
The deficit requires a targeted, aggressive response.
Exactly. The lesson from Kapp and Brits is that the game is absolutely not over, but survival isn't enough. Success in those paralyzed moments doesn't come from battening down the hatches and hoping the storm passes.
Right.
It relies on identifying the absolute biggest obstacle in your path, your own personal Deepti Sharma, and aggressively dismantling it. You don't tiptoe around the hardest part of the problem. You attack it, neutralizing the very thing that is supposed to keep you pinned down. Once that obstacle is broken, the rest of the path opens up.
I love that. And I will leave you with one final thought to mull over regarding that path. Think back to that easy catch that India dropped when Marizanne Kapp was on 65.
Oh yeah, the sitter.
The routine sitter that should have ended the match. In any highly competitive environment, whether that's international sports, climbing a corporate ladder, or navigating a complex market, we love to believe that outcomes are purely dictated by our own brilliant strategy and flawless execution.
You really do.
But the margin between a legendary masterclass and a forgotten failure is often entirely out of our hands. It isn't always decided by the star performer hitting the perfect shot, Frequently, it is decided by a momentary, unseen lapse from an opponent.
Wow.
You have to ask yourself, how often does your own success secretly rely on the mistakes of others? And more importantly, when the opposition inevitably drops the ball, how prepared are you to immediately forget your own past mistakes, step out of your shell, and aggressively capitalize on their error?
Momentum is messy. It relies on human error. And sometimes the boulder only keeps rolling because someone simply forgot to put a wall in its way. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep looking for those dropped catches out there.